Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone. And thank you. Good afternoon and welcome to the webinar on branding and e-commerce essentials using Shopify. We are going to wait. My name is Javi Sanchez. I'm part of the InnoEd team here at DSOBD. DSOBD supports the development, economic growth, and the retention of district-based businesses and the promotion of economic development throughout the district's commercial corridors. So we can help in your business journey and provide a number of programs and resources to entrepreneurs and businesses on all steps of their entrepreneurial journey to successfully start, grow, and build a business in Washington, D.C. And our services are provided at no cost, regardless of the size or stage of your business. So I'll drop the DLCBD website in the chat for more information. I want to talk a little bit about what InnoEd does just before the presentation. So with access to capital, we have a program called District Capitalized, and I'll put more information in the chat for our upcoming event on May 1st, navigating the landscape of access to capital for DC businesses. So if you're a small business owner or an entrepreneur and want to receive the training, tools, and access to achieve greater financial potential and business growth, you'll need to, sign up for this May 1st event. It is from 2 to 5 p.m. at the MLK Library. And so I'll drop in the link in the chat there. And also, we have business capacity resources and programs. For example, every Wednesday at the library, the MLK Library, we have our small business assist, where we have office hours for small businesses and entrepreneurs to receive one-on-one consultations, such as ideation or resources. If you want to learn more about our programs that we have at InnoEd, such as the Aspire program, the Dream Pitch Competition, and other wonderful programs that we have, and other partners that we that are on site at the library every Wednesday. And I'll also drop the link for you for more information there. And just before I present introduce our presenter, I want to just talk a little bit about the new initiative that we just launched at DLCBD, and that is Refashion. So the Refashion initiative focuses on 4 fashion sustainability areas, and that is from tech innovation, re-commerce, textile alternatives, and my personal favorite, fashion empowerment. Fashion empowerment is something that we're actually doing right now. So we are breaking down barriers for fashion entrepreneurs and businesses by providing the resources and the training and the education to empower you with the tools to realize your full business potential. And we're creating a community through that. So I'm really, really excited that Geneva is able to be part of this Refashion initiative, and so yeah, with that, I'll segue to her to present the webinar.
Thank you, Javier. And welcome everyone. Today we'll be discussing how to prepare to launch on Shopify. And so really quickly before we get started, I do want to sort of know what platforms you all are currently using to sell your products online. Maybe it's Shopify, maybe it's not. So if you're able to, please let us know in the chat which platforms you're using, from WordPress to Squarespace. Again, maybe it's Shopify. Maybe you haven't actually gotten that far in your business yet. Maybe you're thinking about different platforms to use. Feel free to also just quickly let us know what that is in the chat. And so, hello again. My name is Genevia, and I am a copywriter slash beauty founder turned web designer and developer. So, all of that is basically saying that I worked 9 to 5 as a copywriter for 9 years. I worked in the retail industry as well as education technology. And in between those industries, I also started my own brand. So I had dreams of pursuing entrepreneurship as a beauty founder. So I started my own cosmetics line. I ran that for about 3 years. I actually started on WordPress, and then I migrated over to Shopify, and it was a night and day situation. Loved everything that Shopify offered, and I saw the true advancement in my business when I made that switch. But I did shut my business down in 2020 after 3 years, and I decided to sort of pivot and launch H.B Lighthouse. And so that started out as an educational platform for Black women specifically who were interested in starting their own beauty brands. So I was sort of paying it forward and sharing my experience about starting my own cosmetics line, and just, the do's and the don'ts of the beauty industry, the things that I did really well, the things that I didn't do really well, in hopes to really just share the information and help folks avoid some of the mistakes I made. And so today it's evolved into a web design and development studio where I offer a variety of services. So now I am designing custom websites on Shopify specifically. So that entails a lot of coding. And then I also do websites that don't have coding. I offer e-commerce strategy development. And so we'll talk a little bit later about what that entails in this particular presentation. And then I also do consulting sessions. So already went over a little bit about me. We are going to cover, again, why Shopify, in my opinion, is going to be your best bet if you are selling products online. We'll talk about brand strategy. We'll talk about e-commerce strategy. And then I'll also offer a checklist because there's so much that we're going to cover. This checklist is going to really walk you through step by step on how to launch on Shopify. We'll also take questions and do answers towards the end. So why use Shopify? So really quickly, I do want to add a disclaimer that Shopify is not paying me to do this presentation, though I wish they were. This is all based on my experience, again, from selling my products online and now actually developing websites on Shopify. So I do want to say that Shopify is going to be the gold standard for e-commerce. So every aspect of it is designed and optimized to support your online store, therefore product-based businesses. Now, I know there are other platforms out there that have e-commerce functionalities, and I don't really have too much experience in them, but I do want to say that Shopify was born, designed, created just for e-commerce. So they're giving you robust features that are really going to help you make that sale every step of the way. And it's also a really great platform to grow with. So a lot of these features that I'm about to cover are more advanced, and you don't necessarily need them if you're just starting out. But the idea is that when you start to scale and advance your business, you don't want to have to migrate like I did and start transferring all that data. You want to be on a platform that's going to accommodate your growth and your volume. So for starters, Shopify definitely caters towards a global market. So again, if you are looking to sell your products in other countries, Shopify is going to allow you or help you to do that very seamlessly. So they offer multi-currency, language selector, customized inventory, and geolocation. So I think those first two ones are pretty self-explanatory, but the customized inventory is basically going to be like, let's say you wanted to serve or sell certain inventory or collections in certain regions and markets. You're going to be able to do that with Shopify. So maybe your ready to wear collection in US, maybe you only showcase it in the US, and maybe you also offer resort wear, vacation ready clothing. And so you only show that collection to folks who are in Europe. So you'll be able to split your inventory and your collections that way if that's what you choose to do. Geolocation is another cool feature, which basically means your website is going to automatically detect the user's location. So if your customer is in Mexico, for instance, they're going to be able to experience your website in Spanish. They're going to be able to check out in pesos versus US dollars versus English. And now, if you have customized inventory specifically for Mexico, they're only going to see that inventory. So that's just an idea of what geolocation is and how it can work for you in Shopify. Another feature that I really like is search and filtering. So let's say you went out and you saw a woman, she had a really cute outfit on, you gave her a compliment, and you asked her, where did she get it from, and she told you. So right then and there, maybe you go to your cell phone and you type in the website, and it happens to be a Shopify website, and you type in the search box high waist pants because you forgot to ask her what the name of the product was. So maybe you just know and you're able to describe it, like these are high waist pants that she was wearing. So you type in high waist pants in the search box. Shopify is going to suggest every single product in your store that has that keyword. You don't have to spell it correctly. You don't even have to have the exact keywords. As long as you know what that was and you can describe it in the best way possible, Shopify is going to pull up every single thing in your store that says high waist pants, which is a win-win for you. So that customer is able to see that specific item that that person had on, and even more items that might be similar, and items that they might be interested in as well. So what is going to really work with this is those keywords. And so we'll talk about this a little bit later when we get to branding and messaging. But when you're developing your product descriptions, it's going to be really important for you to use those relevant keywords that people typically use to search for different products in search engines, because that's what's going to help Shopify pull up that content when when you're using specific keywords to describe your products. So that's a really great feature that I really love. Another one is payment gateway options. So we know in 2024, a lot of us have our wallets already on our phone. We have subscriptions to PayPal, Amazon, Google Pay, Apple Pay, all of them. And so we really don't have time, or it's not necessary to run and grab our wallets or our purse. We can do everything with clicks of a button, especially if stores are offering the options that we subscribe to. So Shopify definitely allows for you to offer multiple payment gateways. So ShopPay, Klarna, etc. So ShopPay is going to be Shopify's own installment plan. So we know what Afterpay is. We know what PayPal 4, I think it's called, where they have the 4 different ways you can pay, or the 4 installment plans, Klarna, etc. So Shopify has its own, and it's called ShopPay. Subscriptions and bundles. So if you have a business model where you allow folks to sort of buy things on a regular cadence, maybe it's biweekly, maybe it's monthly, you're able to offer that feature to folks using Shopify. So I believe recently they launched their own built-in free app where you can offer subscriptions and bundles. But if you also wanted to use an app, there are plenty out there in the Shopify store that will allow you to use their service for free. There are also paid plans, but there are lots of free ones as well that you can use to offer subscriptions. Another one is going to be extensive bulk editing. So let's say you have multiple items that are all similar, and maybe minimal edits that you want to do. You can select all of the items and then make those changes, and it's going to apply to every single item versus you having to manually do it one by one by one. So this is going to be a time saver. Another feature that I think is really cool is the built-in automation. So you have to use an app for that. It's called Shopify Flow. And so how that functions is basically you set up different actions, triggers, and different things to basically help your user experience flow really well. So let's say you wanted to offer folks free shipping when they spend over $200. Instead of having to give folks a coupon code, like having to send them to their emails to get the code or whatever the case may be, you can literally build in a flow, an experience in your store where it will detect if a shopper has $200 worth of product in their cart. They're ready to check out. It's automatically going to take off the shipping fee instead of having to use a code. So that's an example of how you can use this sort of built-in automation. Tax monitoring. So obviously, nobody has time to be owing the IRS. We don't want those fees. We don't want those penalties. And so in Shopify, it tracks your taxes for you. So if you want to filter it from like last week to see how much taxes or how much sales tax you've acquired last year, maybe a month ago, whatever the case is, you can filter it. You can easily download reports, send it to your accountant, or maybe you do your own taxes and get that paid and sorted out very easily. So this is not supposed to be like an extensive, exhaustive list of all the Shopify things, but this is just a high level overview of some of the things that you can do. Again, there are lots of other things that you can do in Shopify, but I thought that these were the really cool ones to really share. So if you have any questions about these things here, feel free to let us know in the chat and we'll get to it towards the end. So branding, I absolutely love branding. So branding is 3 things that I've discovered over the course of just working in marketing on marketing teams in my career as a copywriter. I've noticed that there are 3 things that fall under branding. So it's going to be visuals, messaging, and experience. And before we even get into the weeds of all of that and start talking about the details of it, I do want to take a couple of minutes to just talk about customer analysis and market research, because this is going to be really important before you even get to branding, before you even get to e-commerce strategy. You really want to know your audience and niche down if possible. So one thing a lot of people do when they start creating their brands is they say things like, my brand is for everybody. Everybody can, find something in my collection. Everybody, I don't really have a target audience. Everybody is for everybody. The truth of the matter is maybe you're right. Maybe it is for everybody. But the reality is not everyone is going to be attracted to your brand, because sometimes unintentionally we create a brand and we create a brand strategy around the things that we like, the things that are, nice looking to us, without really thinking about whether or not the particular audience that we are trying to serve is going to like that same thing. And so an example that I can give, sorry, that was my doorbell. An example that I can give is, for instance, maybe you are a women's wear brand and you sell denim. Okay, sure. Everybody likes denim. Everybody can find denim. Women wear denim, period. But the truth of the matter is, if you are selling denim and your branding is attracting maybe Gen Z, for instance. So I do have an example audiences here so that we can stay on the same page. So let's say that your denim collection, you're saying that everyone can purchase something from your denim collection. But really your branding, your visuals, your messaging is attracting Gen Z. So other folks like, young adults, folks who are 35 plus are going to come across your item and they're going to continue to scroll because your visuals and your messaging doesn't speak to them. Because Gen Z and these other generations speak different languages. They're not the same. They don't come from the same generation. They don't necessarily, again, they speak different languages. And so you really have to be intentional about who you really want to sell your products to, who you want to be attracted to your products. Because again, when you go to market, if you're trying to reach everybody, you're really not going to reach anybody at the same time, if that makes sense. So it's really important to niche down. And so you really have to just make a decision on which audience you want to cater to Because if you're talking Gen Z, you know that you're going to need to be on TikTok because that's where a lot of Gen Z folks are. So that's tweens, teenagers, college students. They're going to be on Gen Z. But if you know your audience is more, older mothers with children, maybe that's more 35 plus. So again, they are living different lifestyles. Gen Z and the older audiences, they're different. And so you have to be very intentional about who you're trying to reach. And so to do this, you want to obviously do market research. You want to determine their demographics. You want to determine their psychographics. So psychographics is going to be more like their likes, their dislikes, their goals, their hobbies, things of that nature, their behaviors, their opinions. So I recommend doing focus groups, surveys. You want to do some observations. So maybe you want to hang out where if you are trying to attract Gen Z, you need to be on TikTok. Maybe you need to go to the places that they frequent. If it's Gen Z and it's specifically college students, maybe you need to do more activations on college campuses. Maybe you need to inquire of how to get involved in like spring flings and fall festivals where you can get in front of them and show them your products, ask them questions, do interviews. So focus groups are going to be maybe like 3 to 4 people, mini interviews where you are asking them specific questions pertaining to their style, your brand. Maybe it's competitor information that you want to get. You want to know what brands do they flock to, what brands they're attracted to, so that then informs your brand strategy and your e-commerce strategy. So I hope that makes sense. If you have questions about that, feel free to leave it in the chat. So we're going to get back to branding. So visuals, there are 4 things that fall under visuals. It's going to be your logo, professional images, your color palette, and your fonts. That's what visuals entail. So your visuals should always reflect your brand's vibe. You want to take into consideration your brand's personality, your brand's style. So the question to ask yourself here is, what emotions do I want to evoke, or how do I want people to feel when they encounter my brand? So I have an example here of a brand called Keeper. So their brand identity reflects sustainability. It's more timeless. So they're all about classic staple pieces. They're not trendsetters. They're not looking to, attract they're not looking to attract the audience that loves trends. They're looking for those people who really want those classic pieces like the ribbed turtleneck, the clean white button down shirt, the wrap coat, the V-neck cashmere sweater. Those are the folks who they're trying to attract. So that's an aesthetic, that's a vibe. It's giving minimal, classic, elegant. Those are the keywords that I would use to describe this particular branding. So when we look at their logo, they have a modern text-based logo. It's very clean, very simple, not doing a whole lot. Their professional images are very clean. The keyword here is professional. I do know a lot of folks like to DIY things. And sometimes we really just have to give direction and give other people things to do and focus on our strengths. Everything is not a strength sometimes, to be really honest. And so we do want to sort of outsource certain things and help and allow people to help us in different areas where we're not, super great in. Imagery, photography is going to be one for me at least. And so I'm going to hire somebody to take my photos for me. And so we can see that they're using clean images, their color palette, soft colors. And so we can see this storefront again. It's nodding to this soft colors, this minimalism, sustainability. They have plants. We can also see that their packaging, they're using boxes. So that's recyclable. Again, that's a reflection of their values, sustainability, and things of that nature. So if anyone needs branding support, I do know the girl at Studio Merge. She did put this branding together for this brand. I will share my email contact at the end. So if you do need branding support, brand identity support, send me an email and I can do an intro for you all and connect you to her. Messaging. So this is defining your brand's voice and tone. So your voice is going to be your personality. It's the way that you talk. So if we're thinking about our everyday lives, if we think about the different personalities we encounter, we know that we've likely come across someone who's super bougie, a motivational or inspirational person, a really friendly person, bold, opinionated people. We've come across these people in our life journey, right? And so it's the same thing with a brand. You want to assign a voice to your brand. You want to assign a certain way your brand talks to people. Another thing that you want to think about is your tone. So your tone is going to be your mood. It's the way that you sound. So again, if we're thinking about our lives, we know that we can often detect if we're talking to friends or family. We know when someone sounds sad. We know when, oh, hey girl, you sound sad, or hey, you sound real happy, you're celebrating what's going on. This is the same idea when it comes to your brand. You want to basically assign a tone to your brand. How is your brand going to sound when people are encountering it on social media, when people are reading your emails, when people are going to your website? Do you want to sound playful, sophisticated, energized? Whatever it is, you really need to just determine it and then be consistent with it. So after you decide on those two things, voice and tone, you also want to figure out what you're going to be saying to people to keep them engaged. And you always for sure want to tell folks about the value you provide. So if you know that your collections, your designs are solving problems for people, you definitely want to talk that up. You want to let people know that, hey, we know X, Y, and Z problem is a thing that you might be experiencing, and our products solve that problem for you, whatever the case is. So the best way that I tell people to do this as a copywriter, you want to tell stories. That's how you're going to sell your products online. You're going to tell stories about them. And the best way to also do this, or if you can do this, is to stimulate their senses. So in the world of fashion, what does that look like? So sight, you want to talk about what that product looks like. And even though there are people that can see, who are not vision impaired, who can actually see what the item is, you still want to be able to control the narrative. So you definitely want to describe your own products. You also want to describe and tell stories about the sound. So this would only be applicable to folks who are maybe designing things that have embellishments and beadings, things that do make noise sometimes, maybe shoes even. And so maybe the story is like, maybe you've designed like a fringe dress. So, and this fringe dress has beading and embellishment. So we know again that it makes noise. And so maybe the story is something like, this dress, when you put it on and you go dancing, it sways with you, it makes noise to the music, something along those lines, right? Because then people can imagine themselves wearing this dress, going out with friends, dancing, and they can totally see, okay, I'm dancing to that one song. Like they can picture themselves in this, right? So that's what you want to do, because it helps again to sell your product with just words instead of like literally being in front of somebody and trying to sell them on your product. Touch is something else that you want to speak to, because when you're in fashion, people want to know how something feels. Like, is it silk? Is it wool? Is it, a soft touch? Like, whatever it is, you want to also speak to that as well. And so now I do have an example here of how you can optimize your product page. I think product pages are often like skipped over. People don't really take them that seriously, but they are very, very helpful, as I gave in that example about searching. So you definitely want to use relevant keywords in your product title and in the product description. Another thing that you want to do is use color swatches. So we see the example here, Banana Republic. I think it's safe to say that we're familiar with what that brand is. We know that it's very like workplace ready, office friendly, visual, business casual, buttoned up type of brand. So we can see that they are offering color swatches for these pants. If that is relevant to your brand, let folks know what colorways your product comes in. The fit type. So there's like regular, petite, tall. If you don't want to get that general or specific, depending on how you look at it, maybe you want to refer to like maybe it's a bodycon fit, maybe it's a relaxed fit, maybe it's a boxy fit. Whatever it is, you definitely want to add that to your product descriptions. Definitely include a sizing chart to allow people to know what certain measurements align to certain sizes in your store. I always am for a good product review installment, because when I think about myself as a online shopper, that's the first thing that I go to. I love me a good product review. I love to read and know what people are saying about a brand, because that's usually where all the information is. I mean, people are telling you customer service information. They are telling you if it ripped when they first tried it on, the quality of the material. They're telling you if it arrived late. I mean, they're telling you every single thing. And it's good information to know, because it's going to either encourage you or deter you from making that purchase. Now, I don't want people to think like, oh, product reviews could be bad because people start saying negative things. The truth is, if people are saying negative things, that's an opportunity for you to maybe improve certain areas of your business. Maybe you want to pay attention to those things and refine certain areas. If people are complaining about customer service and their packaging not showing up on time, maybe you want to look into that. If people are complaining about how it don't fit right, they have to order up another size, maybe you want to be more clear in your product description and in your sizing chart. So I think product reviews help with like giving you a tap on your back, or maybe it's maybe helping you push you a little bit more and help you focus in on things that you've maybe overlooked. Another thing that you would want to add to your product pages is fabric care. So you want to tell people how to take care of your products, whether it is throwing it in the washer machine, hand washing it, or getting it dry cleaned. So brand experience. This is going to be basically just consistency across all the platforms that you're using. So if you know you have a website, great. You send emails to folks, wonderful. You have social media, fantastic. You want to show up on all those platforms the same exact way. You don't want to switch up and start giving people different vibes. So in this example, with this brand called Ofure, they have an Instagram page that I have here, I screenshotted, where they have women in their Ankara print design. So we can see the women obviously wearing this type of fabric called Ankara. On their website, they're also promoting their app. We again see three women wearing designs in Ankara print. On their website, again, women wearing designs in Ankara print. So we see the pattern here. It's consistency. They're giving you the same vibes, the same messaging. We honor our African roots. We like to use fabrics from, our native country, etc. So that's like what it means to have consistent brand experience. Also, we saw in the example with Keepers, where their packaging, was very representative of their brand. We saw their brochure was very clean. They were using consistent imagery. Everything was sort of speaking to minimalism and classic pieces and things of that nature. So that's also brand experience. And if you have any questions about that, again, feel free to leave them in the chat. So now we're going to move on to e-commerce strategy. So what is this? This is basically an in-depth analysis of how your website can align with your business goals and your customers' needs. So the easiest way to think about this is a business plan, but it's just for your website. So you'll have likely a business plan for your general business, but an e-commerce strategy is going to be the plan for your website. Why do you need this? So it's helpful to understand how you can bridge your goals, your e-commerce goals, with your customers' needs. Because your goals and your needs, when those come together, that's what makes the strategy. And that's what's going to create the best experience for your customers and for you, because you're in it to make money. I'm going to assume that everyone here that's attending this webinar is trying to make money and sell their products. And so when you can also consider your customers' needs, their problems, and provide solutions to them, you're going to make even more money. So that's basically what an e-commerce strategy document is going to help you sort of map out. Again, it's going to help you understand and outline where you are in your business in terms of your website, where you want to be in terms of your website, and how you're going to get there in terms of your website. So what do you put in this type of document? You basically want to include these things here. So a brand mission, you definitely want to just know straight away what your focus is and just be very clear on what that is. So your brand mission is going to be an elevator pitch, what your brand does, why it exists, and the unique value that your brand offers. Customer analysis information. So we talked about how market research is really important to do before you even get to this point. So once you gather all that market research information, you want to put it in this document. So you want to make note of who your ideal audience is. You want to outline what their behaviors are. So I recommend creating like 3 persona profiles. So 3 different folks who you are dreaming up to be your ride or dies, your biggest advocates, your loyal fans. So you want to outline their behaviors. That's going back to psychographics, what they like, what they dislike, what their opinions are, what their fears are, their goals, their hobbies, all of that is going to fall under their behavior. You also want to map out their journey. So that is basically their road to discovering you, engaging with you, and then shopping from you. What does that look like for your ideal customers? Maybe the acquisition part of it is they discovered you on Instagram, they started following you. The engagement part of it, maybe they asked a question on an Instagram post that you posted. Maybe they sent you an email to inquire about certain products on your page. Whatever the case is, you want to sort of map out what their journey is going to be like. What did it take for them to buy something from you? Um, Maybe you want to outline just sort of like how you keep them as a customer as well. You also want to include user insights. So that's going to be feedback. What are people saying about your brand? Maybe you are looking at captions or comments rather that people are leaving on social media. Maybe they're sending you emails and they're, saying all kinds of things. People will love to send you an email talking about anything. And maybe you are gathering all that information up. Maybe you did that survey that I suggested. Maybe you did those focus groups. Maybe you did those interviews. And so now you have gathered a lot of insights and information about what people are saying about your brand. And you make note of that. And so I'm going to tie that into the next bullet point, which is business and user goals. So obviously, again, you're here to make money. So you're going to include your business goals in this document, but you're also going to include your users' goals and needs. So let's say you went over all the user insights, you've collected a bunch. And so one of the needs is something like, I can't justify spending thousands of dollars online on a store, on a website. So, but you know that your goal is to increase revenue by 20% annually. So you're in it to make money. You got to make money, but you also have to address their needs. So this person is saying that they basically can't drop thousands of dollars on your website because this dress is real cute, but it's really expensive. So the strategy here is how are you going to solve that person's problem and still make money? Well, the solution is maybe you should consider installment plan options. So maybe you didn't have that on your store before, but because you've gathered insights and now that you're reading what people are saying and some of their frustrations about shopping with you or other brands in general, now you know, like, okay, it might be a little bit much for someone to drop $2,000 on my dress. Maybe I do need to offer an installment plan like a Shop Pay, a Klarna, an Afterpay, a PayPal, whatever it is. And so that's how you would address their needs. Another example is maybe you have a collection that caters towards moms who done had 3, 4 children, like all the kids. And so now they're dealing with maybe belly fat and stretch marks, and they really want clothing that's going to suck it in and hide those stretch marks. And so, they need something like that, and you trying to make money. So the strategy is to highlight the fact that, oh, we have denim. We have denim that does that. We have denim that has patented technology that suppresses belly fat, and they're high waisted. So they're going to cover those stretch marks. And so that is the solution that you've just created. But you need to let people know that, because if they don't know that you have products that are going to solve certain situations or problems, rather, then you're going to lose out on that sale, and then you're not going to be achieving your business goals. So definitely communicate the value in your products. So website architecture, that's going to also be something that you want to have on this document. You want to obviously have store navigation tabs, web pages. I recommend having 5 web pages, especially if you're just starting out. And the 5 are going to be your home page, obviously. You want to have an about page, a contact page, a blog page, and you want to have product pages. So those are the 5 types of pages you want. You can obviously have more than one product page. You should if you have a bunch of inventory. So on your product, on your homepage rather, there are 5 sections that I recommend having. So hero section, that's going to basically be as soon as you get to somebody's website.com, at the very top, there should usually be a banner image. That's what the hero section is called. So wherever you see before you start scrolling is going to be the hero section. Underneath that, I always recommend having a brand promise statement. So this is basically telling folks what you do, what you're about, especially if you're a newer brand, you're trying to build a following. You definitely want to have a statement just telling people what you do, the value that you provide, 1 or 2 sentence, boom. Offers and process. So this is basically going to be highlighting your collections. What do you sell? You want to showcase, maybe it's bestsellers, maybe it's most popular, maybe it's new, whatever it is. You want to let people know, boom, on this homepage, this is what we sell, this is what we do. Process is going to be like if you have any special story element to how you manufacture your pieces. Maybe you work with you know like, I don't know, people in other countries to source your fabrics. If it's anything that is going to set you apart from your competitors and provides like that unique differentiating point, hands down, I think you should obviously share that information in that story, because the more you can sort of set yourself apart from a brand, the more that person is going to remember. Because the fashion industry is saturated. So if you can do anything to create, to make yourself different from other brands, tell that story, because people need to know, and that's how they're going to remember you. Testimonials, you should definitely have a testimonial section on your homepage, especially if you're starting out. It's social proof. It gives people encouragement. It lets people know that, okay, this is a legitimate brand. People are actually purchasing products from them and people like them. So you want to have the glowing reviews on your homepage. A blog. So you want to have a blog section that sort of teases the content on the actual blog page. I don't know if people really know this, but blogs help with search engine optimization, which is another way for saying SEO. So blog content is going to help you get searched, or be found rather. When you are using relevant keywords in your content, you are more likely to get picked up on search engines. You're going to be ranked higher. So if you think about it, if you go to search engines and you type in wide leg pants or whatever, they're going to pull up a bunch of different stores for you to go find. So that's how that works. So if you're using that consistently, and you're showing up on your website and using certain, keywords, that's going to help you get ranked and be found, basically. So let's go to the next slide, which is additional things that you want to include. So visual direction. So if you do decide to work with a brand designer, or maybe you do your own branding, you definitely want to have some sort of like snapshot of your brand strategy. So your color palette, your fonts, images, a mood board, things of that nature. If you are using Shopify, they do have themes. They have paid themes and they have free themes. So I would just make a note of what theme it is because there's so many and it's just easy to forget what the theme is. So just jot it down on the style board. You also want to include design inspiration. So maybe there are websites that you really love, certain sections on websites that you really love. I would just screenshot that so you have an idea of what you want your website to look like. If you are working with a web designer, it's going to be really nice for them to just see and get an idea of the vision that you have for your website. And if you're doing it yourself, it also gives you, it just keeps you organized and helps you be focused on what you want your website to look like instead of just sort of having to like, figure things out real last minute. Third-party apps is going to be another thing that you can include in this document. I do have some here that I recommend for folks who are just starting out. They're free apps, so you don't have to worry about paying extra money for them. Product reviews, we already talked about. I recommend Yotpo and Judge Me. Shopify Inbox is going to be really cool. So if you know you're going to have frequently asked questions, you can basically create automated answers for them. So tracking, shipping information, returns, all of that information can be, the frequently asked questions, and then you can have automated answers for them so that you don't have to worry about answering the same questions over and over and over again. So Shopify Inbox is going to do that for you. Shopify email, if you don't have subscriptions to a MailChimp, Flowdesk, or Klaviyo, you can easily just use Shopify email. You're already paying for Shopify. So you might as well just use everything that you can. And if you are building your list and you don't want to worry about sort of spending extra money for other subscriptions, use Shopify email. You can still send emails and different campaigns to your audience. When folks are, you can even segment them. So if folks are buying certain things, if you notice that certain customers are buying certain things, you can segment them and then send certain content to them as well via email. Shopify forms. So we all go online to shopping, or at least some of us go online, we shop online, and we come across different pop-up forms that are welcoming us to their store, offering a discount, telling us to subscribe to their newsletter. So you can set that up in Shopify using their app called Shopify Forms. You can welcome someone, offer 10%, whatever the case is. And this is not the only app that's available for folks to have a form, a pop-up form on their store. There's so many different ones, but this is a free one that you can use that works just as well. I've noticed that there are stores that are doing really well that still use this particular app as well. And so what's nice about this one is that when you put your information in, it automatically gives you a code. So a user doesn't have to go to their email to check for it, which is a nice incentive because it keeps folks on your website and encourages them to go ahead and shop with you while that code is right there on that website. An optional one is Instagram feed. So this is obviously just going to showcase your posts from Instagram directly on your feed. Again, this is social proof, just letting people know, hey, we have an Instagram page. Go ahead and follow us, check us out, look at our aesthetic, things of that nature. So we are at the end of the presentation. I did say that there's a checklist that I put together that is going to help you just get your store up and running. We covered a lot of things to consider when you are trying to get your Shopify store up and running. You can go to the website, hblighthouse.com/checklist to grab this checklist. You sign up for it and you'll instantly get the download. If anyone needs help with web design support, development, you can reach me at my email, genevia@hblighthouse.com. Again, if you want, that referral, that connection to a brand designer, you need help with that, send me the email and let me know. I will do an intro email to the girl at Studio Myrrh. And this is basically the end. So this is the Q&A portion. I will leave this up. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but I will try to leave this up for folks if you want to quickly jot down contact information, and we can do Q&As right now.
Great, Geneva. Thank you so much. That was perfect. We have clapping, everything all over. So thank you so much. For folks who are in the presentation, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them in the chat, or perhaps unmute. If you can raise your hand, we can see if we can unmute your microphone. But in the meantime, I've dropped a couple of links. If you want to get more information, updates on future refashion events that we have in store, please click on the link there. Sign up for DSOBD emails, upcoming programs, grants, the May 1st Access to Capital event at the MLK Library, and also to H.B Lighthouse. And also, Geneva, you want to also drop your Instagram, all your socials and everything in the chat as well. Please do so. All right, let's see.
We did get one question, so I'm happy to read that off. Did anyone else who has questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat or raise your hand. I see there's a hand raised, so we'll get to Ernest in one quick moment. But the question is, what marketing budget do you recommend to launch and budget monthly to attract visitors to your site?
Marketing budget. So when I was doing ads on Facebook and Instagram, I worked with a company. I can also recommend you guys to that if you are interested. But I think it was really low. It was like $10, and we did that $10 a day just to start out. But that was like 3-4 years ago. I think it may have increased. Maybe it's gotten really competitive. But I started out real small with doing ads, $10 a day, and I saw really great traction. I think one of the best selling ads that I had was the budget was really small, and like hundreds and thousands of people saw that video, and I acquired new customers with just a really small budget. So I don't know what the numbers are looking like in 2024. When I had my business 2017 to 2020, I was doing $10 a day. So it may have went up from there, but that's what I started with, and my ads did really well. So it just depends, I guess.
Wonderful. And I have sent a request to unmute to Ernest, who had his hand up. I think you are unmuted. Oh, but you muted again. Let me try that one more time.
Yes, I'm unmuted.
Okay, there you go.
Yes, thank you. My question, well, actually, I'm asking for a little clarity. When you were talking about designing the website, and then you spoke about the other apps like Shopify, Inbox, are you suggesting that you add links to the website you develop back to those other apps?
No, you wouldn't need to link back to them. They are going to be apps that you install on your website, and they're basically going to do all the work for you. You won't have to, for instance, if it's Shopify Inbox and you want to set up a live chat feature, you won't have to link to anything. You will get the email notifications, but what's going to be helpful is if you set up automated answers, you won't have to reply to every single person that is asking those same questions over and over again, because you've already built them in to this particular app. So you don't need to link it out to anything. It's going to do the work for you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I do not see any other hands raised, and I don't see any other questions that have come in. So, Javi, I'll turn it back to you to close this out.
All righty. Thank you so much, Kate. Yeah, thank you so much, Geneva. And we appreciate your excellent presentation. With that, I will send out a follow-up email to the participants on all of the links here. The link to your Shopify launch checklist for HB Lighthouse. visit. I'm sorry, to visit on hblighthouse.com. And so, but yeah, thank you so much. Everybody have a great rest of your Tuesday afternoon. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.